Well, I learned something new in the last few days. I didn't know that affordable housing was like basically a four-letter word for so many people. The other day I posted about how Dave Chappelle, according to the headline, was opposing affordable housing options in his area. He had invested over $65 million in this local area in Ohio, and he was going to pull his funding.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle. I just want to say, and Marianne, I could talk to you about this privately. I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they X out a $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. The headlines were misleading because he didn't really say he was bullying it out because of the affordable housing options. When you dug into the article a little deeper, you found out that there was 2 acres being set apart by this developer for affordable housing. There wasn't much put into the plan about this 2 acres. Some of you had a visceral reaction to the fact that I used a CNN article, but it wasn't just CNN. If you look on the internet, let's just scroll through right now. There were thousands of articles about Mr. Dave Chappelle making this comment. I have to admit, I had a knee-jerk reaction when I saw this because when it comes to affordable housing options, I equally have a visceral reaction because so many people oppose it. And if you look at the comment section in my post on my community page, you will see there is a big confusion of what affordable housing options are. And if you've been a subscriber to my channel for quite some time, you know I'm just trying to find people more affordable housing options. If you look across the United States, there's people that could qualify for a home loan because they have a job, let's just say a teacher, a firefighter, even your local police officers. They have a good standing job. They just can't find an affordable home. When most people had a problem with in the article, they were thinking that he was opposing Section 8 housing, and they were saying, not in my backyard. The classic NIMBY, which I absolutely hate that acronym. But what I'm talking about when it comes to affordable housing options is that I want people to be able to find a home that are those school teachers, firefighters, and police officers. In many areas around the country, home prices have exploded exponentially, so high that they cannot find a home. Some school teachers and firefighters, the people that take care of your community, are having to rent rooms or garages or even ADUs, accessory dwelling units, to be able to survive in the area that they work, and then they drive on the weekends back home to where they can afford to live. Affordable housing options, when you hear that name, it always gets voted out. Every single time that you ever see any community vote on it, in most cases, they vote against it because the plan is never specified to the community in a correct way. The affordable housing options I'm talking about are like townhomes where people could purchase, condos that people could purchase, even tiny homes, and as many times as I've talked about it, modular homes. Modular homes can be put up very quickly. They look like traditional home building. They're built to traditional home building standards, and it could help alleviate a lot of the affordable housing problems that we have throughout the United States. There is a housing supply shortage. With that shortage, the increase in price has gone up so high that the typical single family homes that would be sold to people to fix up, or what you would consider a starter home, do not exist anymore. Even in my local area, the average salary worker could afford a $170,000 home. There is no $170,000 homes in my area at all. And these people qualify for a mortgage. This is what the average worker could earn to afford a house here. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to affordable housing options. But in my comment section, the first thing that comes out of people's mouth is, you have affordable housing options, that means you're going to have crime. And I understand what you're saying when you talk about those specific types of housing options, but we're not talking about government subsidized housing. I'm talking about the type of housing where people pay a mortgage. They just want to find an affordable house. I don't see what's wrong with that, and I don't understand where this reaction came from when it came to talking about it. It seems to be one of those things that we're always wanting to pick sides recently instead of having a conversation of what we really need in our community. It doesn't matter where you sit politically. And a lot of those comments went back and forth on specific parties, on who's doing what against what. So the conversation about affordable housing options shouldn't be about celebrities opposing it, Section 8 housing, It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the people in your community that work in your community trying to find a house that they can afford. And even some communities will go as far as to create problems that do not even exist so they can oppose affordable housing options altogether.
Rawr, what does this mountain lion have to do with housing? The small town of Woodside, California has decided to resist new housing development that is allowed by the state law, SB 9, and they're using these mountain lions as an excuse. This is so typical where they use the environment to restrict new housing from being built, but somehow their houses, which already exist, don't affect the environment at all. Mountain lions love hanging out at their house. But mountain lions famously hate new houses in the same property, in the same yard. Except that the Mountain Lion Foundation waded in. Don't use us as an excuse. The environment is really important, and residential infill that's allowed by laws like SB 9 is a key way that we're going to create housing while not expanding the limits of our cities. What do you think? Are mountain lions yimbies or nimbies?
But all these types of things that happen when it comes to affordable housing options isn't just unique to California. Every single time that they come up, people are opposed to it because they believe that the property values will go down. So if you had a neighborhood, let's just say of homes that were $600,000, and then the next neighborhood that they were proposing was going to be $200,000. The people that live in the houses that are $600,000 do not want that community there because they believe that that will drop their property values. But appraisals don't work that way when it comes to property values. Appraisals work with what is in line for that specific neighborhood. The appraiser isn't going to look at your $600,000 house and use that as a comparable to the $200,000 house in the next neighborhood over. That's not how that works. And people that are living in $200,000 homes are not necessarily undesirables. And let's just go one step further. Let's talk about communities that would be like townhomes and condos. Anybody that's ever lived in a condo knows that the condo association takes care of the community itself. The condos are based on mortgages. If you were concerned about the kind of people that are going to be living in condos, you can go to those meetings when they set up the covenants to say they can only have X amount of rental units within the townhomes or condo communities. And it also will not bring the value of your $600,000 house down either because of the fact that condo has nothing to do with your $600,000 house. The appraisal process when it comes to valuating your house will not be reflected on the fact that there's a condo right next door. We need to have these types of homes, these affordable housing options for people so your community can continue to grow. And if you want to see the effects of not having these types of homes in your area, all you have to do is go to Austin, Texas.
In Austin, what we're seeing is that mortgages are becoming increasingly more unaffordable, even with low mortgage rates and high income growth in Austin. We're going to continue to see rapidly increasing home prices, which are really outpacing incomes, and mortgage rates aren't able to keep up.
There are many people that are now considered homeless because they had a place to live. They were renting it for some period of time. The housing market exploded exponentially. The home that they were renting, the sellers decided to go ahead and put it on the market, leaving them without a home. But because the houses went up so high, they couldn't find a place to rent. But they work in that area and they didn't have enough money to go somewhere else. So now they're living in their cars. Even in my specific area, we had a hurricane that came through. It flattened out people's houses. These people do not have a home currently. They're waiting on insurance benefits and FEMA to come through. They've had their houses totaled because of the hurricane. They were given a cash out by their insurance company, but they can't find a place to live because there isn't anything in their price range anymore. These are not people that you would consider derelicts or druggies. So when we're talking about affordable housing options, I want everybody to have a little bit of a more open mind than just immediately saying no. We can't keep doing this as a country, keep saying no to affordable housing options in apartment buildings and condos and townhomes, and then in the same breath say we can't find enough people to work in our area to work our minimum wage jobs. If you want people to work in your area and take those low-paying wage jobs, you're going to have housing for them. And I'm going to make a statement that most people aren't going to agree with. Everybody deserves a home. And I didn't know that was such a thing that made people so incredibly upset that they think that they do not deserve a home. There's all sorts of situations that we end up in life, and things may not go the way that you planned. Please put your comments in the comments section below. I'd love to read them, but let's be nice to one another. And can we leave the left-right kind of politics off to the side? Can we just have a conversation about the policies that help people in our local communities to find affordable housing options? That's what I'd like the conversation to be. But I think this is something that we all need to talk about. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters.